Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to Strong Female Lead. I'm one of your co-hosts, Tricia.
And I'm Tessa.
And we are here to take a look at the portrayal of female characters in movies and television in order to create a social dialogue about representation of women in media. Because Hollywood has been telling us what is and isn't a strong female lead for as long as we can remember. But did they get it right? Tessa, this has been a night.
It has been. Technology is working against us.
This has been, we have been doing this for 3 years, almost 2.5. I don't know. It's unclear now, but it just took us 2 hours.
Yeah. To start recording.
I'm gonna pee myself, truly. I'm full on gonna pee myself. 2 hours yet to start recording.
Yeah.
This is reminiscent of the early days.
Yes. GarageBand, we were trying to make it work. Like 18 files to piece together.
But I don't think this one was entirely our fault.
No, this one
right?
We're not the Genius Bar. We're not whatever the
Genius
Windows
Bar.
Genius Bar is. Nerd Squads. We are regular Joes. We're just regular Joes here with simple wants, simple desires. We just want computers and phones that record our voice.
That's it.
Talk shit about Hollywood.
To record our voice in a very simple, just to record, and it doesn't even have to be great. We're just asking for fair.
Yeah.
Fair to good.
Yeah. Can you make out what I'm saying? Do they sound like words? Hopefully you laughed at least once.
Okay. So we're here. We're doing it. I'm happy to be back. It's been a couple weeks. We took a little mini vacay.
You know, my life's exactly the same as it was. But
yeah. We took a little vacay. I did that pandemic City Hall bride shebang. That whole thing.
What?
Zach and I did it.
Said so casually.
I know. No, it's just a cash. It's a cash thing. It's just a legal agreement, mostly about property.
Yeah.
No, it was wonderful. We were supposed to get married almost a year ago.
Oh.
And then it was canceled by this thing that, blown way out of proportion. This whole pandemic thing, please. Priorities.
Yeah.
No, it was canceled. We decided to postpone it indefinitely, because we just didn't want to risk having people get sick and come together. We weren't comfortable. It was just a level of comfort for us. And we also wanted more people to be able to come. And so that was kind of the thing. And then we were like, you know what, let's just do it. We got real lazy about it. So that is some of the reason.
Lazily plan a wedding of any size. It takes a lot of
for sure, but you can get lazy about not going to City Hall. It's like $10 to make that shit happen. People can get married. I mean, it's like $60 or something to apply for the marriage certificate. But the actual fee was, I believe it was $10 to have a justice of the peace. So just clamoring together the funds, and really what stopped us was the bureaucratic nature of just going to City Hall during these stupid hours,
Mhm.
waiting in line. You both have to be present for the wedding, but also to apply
Yeah.
for the marriage certificate. And we just kept putting it off. And then it was just, yeah, it was a thing. And we were sort of in denial of how disappointed we were that we had to cancel.
Oh.
And I think that we were in denial and just kind of being like, yeah, we'll
Yeah.
get to it. Who cares?
Yeah. Well, I feel like everyone was like, be real, or like, someone has it worse than you type thing. Like, oh, I'm thinking about
Yeah.
other people are thinking about like, keeping their lights on or something like that. So you said it kind of feel guilty about it. So I can totally understand that you'd be like, we had to cancel it, but we can't make a big, like, I can't like express that I'm like frustrated that I had to cancel this because of COVID. And like,
There's something a little bit larger going on. Yeah. But it ended up being wonderful. And so it was great. Little din
yeah, and you
that
look
night.
beautiful. Your dress was so pretty. I was so jealous. And I was like, oh man, so cute.
What did you say? Well, first of all, thank you. And what did you say about the dress? You were like, that's the dress that you would wear if you had done something wrong. You would hang out in that dress.
What was that Rihanna movie where Rihanna robbed a jewelry store? You look like you could fit in right in with those chicks.
Oh my God.
It was like Rihanna and shoot, like I feel like maybe like Nicole Kidman. Like it was a weird cast, but it was a heist movie, and they like went in and they robbed the Met Gala. So it was like all those like crazy bejazzled jewels and costumes, and I was like, you would have fit right in.
And was Rihanna fully costumed while doing it?
Well, no, she was like she was already like a thief, and so she was just like being her Rihanna self. Like it just looked like it's just everything. But the other ladies had like crazy diamonds on to fit in, just like dripping in diamond.
dripping. I was dripping in sequins. There were a lot of sequins. I was channeling my sequin Stevie Nicks, although it was ivory. But yeah, it was a total blast. But I got that dress, the night before. Zach and I went and got wedding rings 2 days before. I mean, we had quite a while to get our shit together.
It's more fun that way.
It was so stressful. Like our true procrastinating natures came out, and it was just like we were relying on everyone to work twice as hard for our lazy asses. And it all worked out though.
Kitchen, who wouldn't want to like make this happen for someone? Like, how are you like, who's the like wedding Scrooge who's just like, no, should have done it 3 months ago.
I know. You should have known. Well, we asked if we were the most last minute people to get wedding rings because we had ordered them and they didn't size right. And so it was last minute and we're like, we need ones that fit. And we went to this place like down the street and we asked them, I wish I could plug them right now. I think it's like Mineralogy or something in Irving Park. But we asked if we were like, were we the worst? Like, are we the worst? Because we're getting them and you're resizing them and you're having them ready for us the next day and we're getting married a day later. And they said, no, we've had people come the day of. And I was like, boom. And then meanwhile, there's this other couple that's like, we're really excited. It's the female talking. We're really excited. We're just trying to, get this stuff done early. Yeah, we're getting married in the fall.
Oh.
And I was like, oh wow, yeah, you guys are on it. You are on it. Well done. But you know what? We did it. Extremely happy. I was a little bit shocked. I have always kind of had like a love-hate relationship with the idea of marriage and have always been slightly fearful of it, whether that was conscious or not. And it's a different feeling. Even for me, and we've been together 5 years, we've lived together 3. I mean, there's not a lot of like I mean, you never totally know someone. I don't think you can know anybody 100%. So there's always things that will surprise you. But like, he got the milk for free. Like that whole, like, there's no like real, like shocking thing to unveil unless it's like a change in one of us, like during our relationship. So it's just like, here it is. and it does feel different. It felt different, and I actually liked the City Hall thing. I didn't think I would, and I really did. It felt sort of like we were part of history. So many people have done it. It was just a lot sweeter than I would have imagined.
I was like, that's so good. I would do it the same way if I ever got married. I'd like try to do it all in one weekend, like the engagement, wedding, just do it all, wrap it all up. Let's get it done.
Yeah, let's get it done. And then we Zoomed our parents in.
Oh, yay.
Because we're only allowed to have one witness each, and we were just going to have us. And my mom that morning, and I'm telling you, this hasn't happened to me since I was like 10 years old. I started bawling, and I go to Zach and I'm like, I want my mommy. I am like almost 40 years old. I did not realize how much I really did want her there. And then we called her and she's like, hello. We're like, do you want to be at the wedding via Zoom in like an hour and a half? Sure. And then it was just, I know.
Awesome.
It was
I
so
would probably do
sweet.
the exact same thing. Just what? Exact same thing. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so sweet.
Fighting it. We're fine. I'm old. It doesn't matter. There's a pandemic. And I was like, I want my mommy. And I just called her crying. I'm like, I want you to go. I'm sorry. So it was wonderful. So big change. And that's it. And here we are, and we're SFLing. And just, thanks for being a part of that. T.
It was gorgeous. Thanks for inviting me. It was like the first thing I've done post-pandemic was your wedding reception. And so it's forever in my memory. It will be part of my COVID story. It
was such a tiny group. And part of your COVID story, right? Such a teeny tiny, it was like 6 people, Chicagoans, like, let's get dinner.
Yeah. They're all fun too.
Yeah, it's a really good group. It's a really good group. What are you watching?
Pivot.
Number 2 on the outline. What are you watching? Oh, my nose.
Well,
sorry, Emma.
No, you're fine. I've been doing a lot of now that I've like gone out into the world, I feel like it's okay to be in the world, and so I went to the movies, went to an actual movie theater, and I saw Mortal Kombat, and it was pretty okay. I would recommend it if you're just a fan of the franchise, but as a new
newbie,
somehow missed Mortal Kombat in your youth.
I did.
We'll see what the rest of us see when we watch this. It's definitely for 90s kids and video game enthusiasts.
Nice.
Would really love it. What else? I watched some murder mystery on Amazon Prime. That was pretty interesting. Starring the girl from, I'm so terrible with the name of things. Hold on 1 second.
Wait, if you say the girl
from American Horror Story. She's in like every season.
Sarah Paulson. No?
The other one. What is her name? Lily Ray. Lily Ray.
Oh my God. Yes, I saw that.
Yeah. It was a solid mystery. I was like, I figured it out by the end, but I like to be validated. And
it
might be a season 2 to see what happens.
Right.
A lot of loose threads. So recommend.
A lot of loose threads to be tied. Super binge worthy. So easy and addicting. Like it just went by so fast. I'm like, this is a drug. You might as well shoot me up. It felt like I was taking it to the vein. Like, it was so good.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. And what else have I been watching? Anything?
And I like her. She deserves a leading role. I wish she'd get more of them. Like, she's just a really good actress.
Yeah. I agree. I think she's a really good actress, and I think the guy who played the rapist, who I think they're somehow connected, but he's also a really good actor.
Yeah, they're in a relationship.
Yeah.
They're in a relationship. They've been together for quite a while. I think they have a kid.
I was like, what a strange dynamic to play on stage and then have to take home with you.
Yeah, very, very uncomfortable.
Sleep in separate apartments for a little while until you can.
Because her husband
character.
Actually, I don't think they're married. Her boyfriend, and he was so good, was terrifying. And I was like, I don't know. Violence. I'm just like, oof. That's very intense, but that they've got to be just intense as fuck people. Like, I just can't, they just got to be crazy in the best kind of way, but like, they probably go home and talk about it. I mean, that's how insane I think they probably are.
I don't disagree, and that's probably exactly what they're doing right now. I just don't know that I could look at my partner the same, because he is such a good actor. It'd be different if he was terrible.
He's so good, and they're theater actors by trade, so I think they met, while doing theater, and just, they're just like in it.
Yeah.
And I just imagine them just like, like basically going over their notes, like at the end of the night, like, well, if you look at me this way, if you do, I mean,
No, I just like rehearsing that dialogue. I'm like, I don't want to say any of these words to a face that I like.
I know, a face that I had a child with that face.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's even creepier because they're always talking about having a daughter, and I was like, I hope to God you don't have an actual daughter. Ew.
Yeah, but now I like them really as a couple. They're sort of like these, I don't want to say like underdog actors, but like they're so good. But I think they've both kind of been, I don't know if him for sure, but in supporting type roles, and they bring out the lead in whatever they do in their supporting. And like for them to just kind of like get in it, like them being the top dogs, I was like, yes.
I don't know. I was thinking for parts of it, she was giving like best supporting actor vibes, and I'm like, girl, you are the star. I feel like
you are the lead.
This is you. Especially like, I thought like her and Amy Brenneman in that show really played nice together. I mean, they don't on the show, but they like act well off of each other. So I thought their scenes were especially strong. But we're not reviewing that show. We're not doing that. That's not what we're doing.
You know what? I know, but we probably should at some point. Now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's easy. I just have basically been getting back into Handmaids.
Oh, yeah, the last season of Handmaids.
Yeah, it's the last season? I guess I didn't know that. That's a bummer, but also ended on a good note in a show. I'm always a fan, even though I get sad. I like to remember it. Like, I even like those like limited series. I'm like, just give it to me. Just give me the story. Like, don't make me think of this in a negative light. Like, you going on for years and years. Yeah, Handmaids is, just as fucked up as it's always been. I mean, the last episode I watched, are you watching it?
No. Mm-mm.
Do you watch it?
No. I watched the first season and half of the second season, and I was like, I feel like I know where the ship is going. I'm gonna get off now. No, I didn't.
Yeah, because it's a bummer. Like, it's a bummer. It is one of the darkest shows I think I've ever seen. I love dark shows, but it just really like it brings you down there. And the last episode I watched, for all of you Handmaids folks, like the train scene with the handmaids trying to escape with the Radiohead song playing, and they get hit by the train, a bunch of them.
Yeah, jumping off. Yeah.
No, not jumping off, racing. Like they all get caught after they've escaped, and they get taken to basically this like breeding village where they're just, it's the Mary Magdalene whatever village, where they're not even going to live with a family. They're going to just be breeding and then doing hard labor outside. And they kind of, you know, get in a skerfuffle, they jump off a truck, and then they're racing to beat the train to get away. And a bunch of them just like go right into it. And it's just, and with Radiohead, I'm just like, you guys are sick. You guys are sick. Whoever made this is so sick.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad I got off. It's funny that I used that terminology before you said that.
The ship.
Like a premonition. It was sitting in my head that there's some sort of transit happening and bad things. So I'm probably never going to finish Handmaid's Tale. I don't need to see any previews of the future. I'll just wait. I'll see it when I get there.
I know. It's it's sort of like a big left turn that like is always possible to take in our world.
Pretty sure it's a right turn.
Yeah, you know what? What's up with like when people think like, well, they've taken too many left turns? Like maybe it's a right turn. Maybe it's just 1,000 right turns. God, it's unfair.
It is.
I mean, lefties always have it rough, right? Are you a lefty?
No, right?
No, I'm not either.
No.
But, okay, so guys, we have a treat for you, because on this episode we are covering I, Tonya. So our theme, the crowd. So our theme this month, or just maybe not this month, but for the next 3 or 4 episodes, is You Blank Like a Girl. So it's our sports theme. Tessa has been really like whooping it up in the background, wanting this to happen. And I was equally excited because there are so many good ones to pick from. But of course, my brain went first to I, Tonya, because that's probably the most recent sports theme, movie with a female lead that I had seen. So in case you guys don't know, I, Tonya is a 2017 American biographical dark comedy film directed by Craig Gillespie and written by Stephen Rogers, blah, blah, blah. It follows the life of figure skater Tonya Harding and her connection to the 1994 attack on her rival, Nancy Kerrigan. So it's loosely based on actual events, and it sort of reframes the narrative around Tanya's implication in the crime, as well as other criticism of her actions. It's just like filled with unreliable narrators, a really, really interesting and fun breaking of the fourth wall. Like it happens in a way that I'm fully accepting of it and enjoying it. It's not like the whole time. They kind of go back and forth between almost the people being interviewed and then walking through the actual events and kind of giving a narration to the audience. It's just, I mean, it's hilarious in like a not laugh out loud way. There were a few times that I did just start like cracking up though, because I was like, that's so funny, because the cast of characters is like the real people, and they are like a cast of characters. I just cannot get over the like Gillooly and the like Eckhart of it all, like just the combo of them with the mom. Oh my god. So it's, I mean, it's so good. And if you haven't seen the 30 for 30, like going for gold or whatever, they pull a lot of the dialogue from those interviews, like the collection of interviews that are in that. So I watched some of it, but like her mom is definitely being interviewed like with a bird on her shoulder. I mean, that is a true to life thing. Like they just, oh God. So like a little bit about T. Harding, you know, for those of you that weren't around during this, like T. Hard was so like 90s wild. Like, I mean, it's not that wild, right? She grew up in, she grew up pretty, it seems like, I mean, I think it's blue collar, but it made it seem a little more destitute. And, you know, she didn't grow up with a lot of money. She's from the proverbial wrong side of the tracks in Portland, Oregon. And, you know, she's in a home with domestic violence. You know, her mom is abusive to her. Her mom throws all of her money towards skating, which is just this like really interesting thing where her mom like hates her, but like doesn't, like she's putting every dime she has towards skating, yet she is like truly terrible towards her daughter the whole time. Like it's basically like, I hate you. And so she's just wrong side of the tracks. She gets into figure skating at a young age. She's really good. She's a superb athlete. She's strong as fuck. And then, you know, she kind of goes up against Nancy Kerrigan. It's sort of like, you know, the image that they want in figure skating versus the image that they don't. And Tonya like just wasn't graceful enough for them. She was too like rough around the edges. Her blue nail polish, they always referred to. I'm like, oh, crazy. like get that girl together. I mean, like she really wasn't like, she just wasn't that like, maybe it's just the situation, maybe it's the sport, but like I've met Tonya Hardings, like I know Tonya Hardings, not incredibly talented skaters, but like, you know, women who have that background, and like it's not, they're not, like what the hell? I
got that background. I've seen much trashier nails on much classier quote unquote people.
Like, I mean, yeah, it was just, so there's like lots of themes that are woven into this, but it just takes us through, it's basically like a mockumentary of sorts, like it takes us through the events as Tonya and her cohorts are telling them. And they've all got different stories, man. So, I mean, thoughts.
Thoughts on I, Tonya. I've always loved Tonya Harding since forever.
You have to love Tonya Harding.
It's impossible not to. Even I remember, like Tonya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan are like legit. Some of my earliest memories is watching them figure skate. Legit. I was like obsessed with figure skating as a kid. I got to figure skate as a kid because they did, and they were like, everyone I cared about was on the ice. In like 1996, I was here. It was like we were saying earlier, like the two things that probably like define my like image of like what a scandal is or what it is to be scandalous is Tonya Harding and OJ. They're the only people who matter.
Bam Bam.
Bam Bam.
Like late 90s, mid 90s, that was when Scandal was, when you saw it like day to day. Like it in terms of the news cycle. Like those were the first where it was like, oh my God, we're like watching these people leave their homes. We're watching, like we're following them. Yeah.
We're staked out at their, whether it's insane that all of that was allowed to happen, like, and continues to happen, but fuck.
I know. Yeah.
It was really interesting. I mean, I really liked seeing her husband Gillooly and their like henchmen, essentially their
Oh my God. Oh my
their
God.
perspectives on the same events. Yeah, I think that, you know, the hardest part about the movie is that they're all unreliable narrators. We don't know what's true, what isn't, who knew what, and when they knew it. All that kind of stuff that you'd want to know at the end of like a caper. You're like, oh man, we figured it out. At least in the end, we got the right guy. And then did we?
I No, we don't know.
Yeah.
They're all like, I mean, this definitely takes the angle of Tonya being the victim, right?
Right.
I mean, it just seems, and I like, you know, I liked the angle it took. I like that it explored her emotions in this, because that's not something we got to see,
Mhm.
you know, when it was all happening. She was very much just the enemy. And whether or not she had a part in it or turned a blind eye or whatever, it's still, it was interesting to see it from her perspective, because I hadn't seen the 30 for 30. I hadn't seen all of those interviews or didn't remember the interviews. But like when she says, you know, Nancy gets hit, like popped in the knee, and everyone's like, ah, and she's like, I get it constantly, you know, and there was some truth to that. You know, she was hit by the people that loved her, and people weren't stepping in, and it was just the classism. If anything, it was just the classism that was so rampant through this. It was just like really, really tough to stomach. It did make me feel, you know, empathy towards Tonya. And, you know, I always liked her, but I was just like, that sucks. If
Yeah.
that is how that happened, like, she really didn't, she had to be kind of, you know, she had to like white knuckle through life. So she had to be kind of, you know, she was a fighter.
Mhm.
And she was gonna like make shit happen on her own. And it didn't seem like things ever really lined up for her, ever.
No, it almost seems as though there's a system down.
What?
Actively
What?
oppressing her. Like, it's insane. Like, it's just like crazy to think about, but like it's like completely
It
seems
almost is.
almost.
Almost seems as if there is some sort of system but here's the thing though. What was the difference between her and Nancy Kerrigan? Because Nancy Kerrigan came from a blue collar family as well. It wasn't like she like came from wealth. So it was like there's that system, but then are you willing to play along, to pull out? And she was not willing to, quote unquote, play along, which I
Uh,
sort of love her for.
yeah, you mean in terms of their attitude / personalities, like
Yeah, because
I,
Nancy Kerrigan kind of came from a similar background, albeit not like necessarily violent that we know of,
mhm.
right? They didn't come there. One of them wasn't wealthy and the other one was. Like neither of them were.
Mhm.
It was just Nancy's like look, how Nancy appealed. Like she, you know, played along, and Tonya was like
It's almost as
playing
if there's a
fucking.
value-based system based around beauty that has chosen one and discarded another for seemingly no reason, or very, very, or preferences and not.
It's almost as if, you're right. You keep pointing out these like very difficult to see systemic.
You know, I got my new glasses. I got some new glasses recently, and I've just been noticing shit lately.
It is, you're really catching on. I think you need to reach out to someone and let them know. Like,
Let them know. I should probably start with CNN or like Newsmax or any of these media stations that have also turned into, you know, leaned away from being the uh, from being reporting on stories to being stories and using their corporate arms to oppress people into like doing things and acting in a way. It's like crazy. It's like they're taking over our right to vote or something. It's like, do we even matter anymore? Do people matter?
Preach. I am really okay, women. If you do, ladies, if you'd like to pull out of poverty, you must be beautiful and graceful.
Yeah. Or spend every dime you have trying to achieve it.
Done. Our work is done.
Encouraged.
Our work is
alterations and enhancements encouraged. Crazy.
So, I mean, yeah, there was so much in this, and I really love when we just kind of go along for the ride in terms of seeing like Tonya's life and her upbringing. You know, like she meets Gillooly. Of course, his last name is Gillooly, because what other last name could this clown possibly have? This mustachioed clown.
Oh my
God,
the good
mustache.
I love that it was Sebastian Stan. I would have watched this sooner had I known. I was like, for some reason, the toxic side of me still found that this was the most attractive Stan that I've seen thus far. Maybe it's just he's younger. Maybe it's the mustache and it's just like giving me all the 90s vibes, but I definitely feel like this aesthetic was his best.
I was also attracted to him, and I found that they really like, and maybe it's because of the system that we're talking about, but they really had an extremely attractive Gillooly and Harding in this movie. Like stunningly.
It's almost as though if they were prettier, people would care more.
I mean, it's almost as if I empathized with Margot Robbie more so than T-Hard.
Yeah, a little bit, because the actor who played Nancy Kerrigan, do you remember her face at all? No, she became Nancy Kerrigan and faded into the background like Nancy Kerrigan.
Because you weren't supposed to feel anything for her. She was just another brunette. Like, she's pretty.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But Robbie is, or Roby, maybe I should know how to say her name. She's so beautiful, but she's like such a good actress too. It's just like this, it's a combo.
Yeah.
It's a combo, man.
I think she did great in this role. I feel like she already has an SFL. She's got one from, I think we gave it to her in Suicide Squad, but correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're right. And she was throwing some Harley Quinn vibes, like in a few of the scenes where I don't know if it was like a dream where she was the one that hit Nancy Kerrigan. She like looked back and she like had this look on her face, and I was like, Harley.
Yes, I agree. I also like wanted to point out and like be like slightly appalled now that I'm past this, but like she was between the ages of like 18 to 24. And I feel like nobody, like, just as another layer of like how systems have failed so many Tonya Hardings over the years. But I was just like, how are we banning her from figure skating? I thought that was so severe. I wonder if that's something that has been rectified in the wake of, people paying more attention to her case. Because I thought that was so unfair. I understand that she not be able to compete anymore. But to just dismiss her, that she could not, teach, that she can't, like, live off of her own name of being like a amazing figure skater. She could have been like an Olympic level coach. Like the last scene like really like made me really sad.
Well, and it was by far the worst punishment. She was right. Like, she could have done jail easy. She could have gone to some like workhouse prison and like just made it just fine. I mean, depending on where, but she's scrappy as fuck. Like, that would have been, frankly, she might have liked it. She'd be away from her mom,
could have got her
away
GED.
from Gillooly. Like, prison could have been a positive for Tonya. And that's terrible to say because prison is absolutely horrible, but there are things that can be focused on. And her life outside, you know, she didn't seem to have that much that she was really any motivation out there. She would have done great with prison.
I think so. Yeah, I feel like I just felt that was so particularly cruel, and it does make it seem as though especially since she wasn't convicted of a crime, at least not that or no, it was conspiracy or something.
Or it was like like she didn't help out the prosecution. I forget the name of that crime, but it was something like hindering the prosecution or something. I don't know the name of it, but yeah, she just wasn't helping.
So minor though. She gave a fucking recorded testimony. Just think that's so petty. It's almost as though there's another system, prison industrial complex, one might say, that just, you know, it's just school to pipeline or drop out of school to pipeline, Olympics to pipeline. Everyone can wind up in the goddamn pipeline, and there's no there's no restorative justice for things that they've gotten wrong. We can't give Tonya Harding back her laurels, restore the luster to her name. She did not commit the crime that people think she committed. According to the judges and juries, it's like once a criminal, always a criminal type thing.
Yeah, but like did she have any criminal record? Shoot, I'm sorry. Victim of domestic violence is on her criminal record.
Some sort of violence. I was like, I feel like we're leaving a lot out of the story, but you know.
Well, yeah, she was beaten the shit out of by Gillooly, and that scene, and I know that, you know, there were records of domestic violence, but if that scene in the car happened the way that it did, it makes me want to vomit. So there's a scene where, well, he shoots her, first of all, and then
so he shot the car, and the car shot her.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, Tessa. I'm sorry, you're right. He meant to shoot, right. He was a bad shot.
Mm-hmm.
So so the car shot her, and then she gets into shotgun. And they drive and get pulled over by the cops. And I mean, if this is how it happened, there's, you know, a gun and blood and maybe even, was there a knife? There's a bunch of shit and alcohol, everything in the trunk, and they just let them go.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
I
can imagine that in a small town. Oh, I mean, Portland isn't a small town, but like, you know the people who you grew up with. Like, I don't know, maybe just growing up in the 90s, but like we knew all the families on our block. And so if something like this would have happened when I was a kid, like in 1996, like I can definitely see that type of, because it did happen. Like,
right. Yeah.
That is just so sad though, to again not be protected by the systems that should be.
So, all right. So we've got that. So let's talk about something positive. Tonya was the first American woman to attempt and land a triple axel.
Mm-hmm.
And she did it, I think, during the Olympic trials, or no, just in a competition.
Yeah.
And maybe it was national.
Yeah, I think it was Worlds, because she said for a minute in time I was the best in the world. So I think it was Worlds.
Okay, got it. Got it. I mean, she was, right? Like, no one can take that away from her.
Mm-hmm.
But then she gets to the 1992 Olympics, fails to stick her landings, and finishes 4th. And then she moves back in with Jeff. They're on again, off again. She is working as a waitress, and her coach convinces her to train for the 94 Winter Olympics. So here we are.
Rocky montage.
What?
Her Rocky montage of her working out with like carrying coffee or something.
Oh my God. And Diane's like, she did this. She did this. Like, those fourth wall, I mean, I loved it though, because I was like, she did.
Yes.
I believe it. She's total beast. Like, she is so strong. And so in 1993 at regional championships, Tonya receives a death threat and chooses not to compete. So Jeff is like, this is light bulb. This is light bulb above Jeff's head. He thinks, oh shit, I can have death threats sent to Nancy Kerrigan to help her, to show her that I love her. And then, you know, there's just this like weird thing with his friend Sean Eckhart, which like,
so sad. I was like, this poor gentleman is somewhere on the spectrum, and
oh my God,
or we don't know what's happening, but there's something not right. There was something was going on.
Honestly, I thought it was low IQ. Like, that was the vibe I was getting. Just like plain and simple, low IQ.
Like, or maybe, yeah, I guess. I was like, I felt bad.
You felt bad for him?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
These are the people you think are your friends, and like, you're that easily influenced. I'm like, oh.
Oh my God. I guess I didn't. I thought it was clown 1 and clown 2. Like, I was like, this guy with, like, I mean, his quotes are incredible. Like, there's one scene where he's, you know, because he's involved in espionage.
Right.
Put that in quotes. He is like a double agent super spy in his head. We don't know really what he does because he lives with his mom. But he has this quote, and he's like, when traveling internationally, I'm as resourceful as a lizard. I was like, that is so funny.
I really like it. I don't understand it, but I really liked it.
I don't understand it either. And then, like, there's a scene where Jeff and Tonya are fighting on the phone, and this gave me like real 90s vibes, because they're in the basement, or they have the phone from upstairs, and they have the cord pulled all the way down the steps, like into the basement. And Sean and Jeff are in the basement. Jeff is at Sean's mom's house having this fight, and it's a lot of like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And they just keep yelling up to his mom, Sean's mom, to dial the number again.
Yeah.
I love that.
I love that.
That is like serious 90s flashbacks of not having electronics in every room, right? And having to make do. It's so good.
I loved that. And I loved everything that Tonya wore in the whole movie. I was just like, yes, they're just nailing it all over the place. All the costumes. And I never noticed how Tonya Harding looks like the girl from Frozen. And I was like, is this just history correcting itself? Because Tonya Harding looks a lot like that girl from Frozen, the blonde from Frozen.
I'm dying.
The outfit.
Elsa?
Yes.
Oh, I know, right?
I was like, is this some like restorative justice that she'd be forever immortalized as an ice princess? If not an Olympian, she's an ice princess still.
A cartoon?
Yes.
Ice princess? Elsa? Or was it the other one?
Oh, you cut out.
Whatever.
Sorry.
Oh. Was it Elsa or was it the other one?
Yeah, Elsa. Elsa's the blonde, I think.
Got it.
Not 100%.
Yeah, I loved their 90s big dick energy with limited technology. Just the real, like, I'm just gonna give it to her. I'm just screaming, fuck you, stupid bitch. Hey, can you dial once more, Mrs. Eckhart, or something? It was like, oh my God, I can't. I mean, it really does remind me, like, you know, we had a VCR upstairs, but we had it like hooked up to our TV downstairs. We like, it just very much, oh yeah. Just kind of, I just love like a tech-free home where you're just scrambling. to use the tech in different areas. It just like makes me so happy.
I love that.
Oh, and the mom, like, just not, and this is very 90s mom, like, just not getting involved.
Mm-hmm.
There's clearly like abuse happening, something terrible, just not getting involved. Oh my God.
Never. My parents would never let that go. This poor boy would be murdered.
And she's housing him and probably giving him meatloaf.
Huh?
She's probably feeding him meatloaf.
Probably.
Like after he's done.
Probably. Growing boy. I mean, the relationship between Tonya Harding and her mother was just one of the most heartbreaking
terrible
dynamics I've ever seen on screen. And I'm sad that this is, based on reality. That is horrible.
It was absolutely gut-wrenching. Gut-wrenching. I mean, that's where she learned abuse. And her mom's arguments about how she needed to be abusive towards Tonya to have Tonya be good. It's just all like so fucking backwards.
Yeah.
I think that she thought that Tonya would be her meal ticket.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense to me for putting all of her resources into Tonya, yet unequivocally hating her.
Oh, it was just so, I've never seen, I want to believe that like mothers like that don't exist, but I'm like, to live so violently and vicariously through your daughter, so obviously, like that level of, I'm like, how do you breathe in a room with Tonya Harding and her mom? Like, I just feel like the air would be so thick just with the rage between them. Like, but
this, we did Sharp Objects. This was another depiction of female rage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just full on rage. And I feel like Tonya was born hated by her mom. Like just her existence maybe reminded her mom of like, just things not working out the way that she wanted them to, because I don't get the impression that there was ever love there. It was just, she was like imprinted, like fucking like Twilight style, but like in a bad way.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think that the mom was also jealous of the relationship with the dad, Tanya's father-daughter relationship with the dad, for like, I guess taking him away maybe. Because like the whole little dialogue piece at the beginning when she was talking about, I don't know how it happened, but Tonya was spoiled. Like, obviously I wasn't giving her the attention, but she was getting it from someone. I was just like, what an interesting way to say that.
Yeah. I don't know how it happened. Well, because he like spoiled her with love and attention.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, and spoiled her. Jesus, like spent time with her.
Right. Give an appropriate amount of love and affection to a child who needed him and he loved.
Yeah, heartbreaking. But Allison Janney, I think she makes a real strong appearance in this. She is in character.
Mm-hmm. She's impressive.
She is in it.
Just impressive. Allison Janney, like, this wasn't my favorite Janney role, but like she won the Oscar for it for a reason, because it was that freaking good.
She's so good.
Yeah.
I know. And then like that conversation where they show it in I, Tonya, and Margot Robbie's like talking to her mom on the phone and being like, yeah, I got half credit for it, blah, 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 or no, okay. And then hangs up the phone and is like, that bitch. I watched like the real version of that because they have it on tape. Like they did have that recorded, and it was like, oh, like it's not even like for dramatic effect. Like it was really, Tonya got off the phone and said, yeah, my mom basically she said, you did terribly. And you're worthless and you suck. And like right after oh my God,
Yeah,
it's just so bad.
How anyone trusts anyone after going through repeated betrayals like that. And then the scene when Allison Janney is trying to record Tonya in order to sell the recording. I was like, wow. Wow. I mean, I just feel bad for her that she's been so alone in the world up until then, with this level of betrayal after betrayal. It must be like
it's terrifying
to be Tonya Harding.
Unbelievably lonely. And of course she's stuck with Gillooly for a while. Mm-hmm. Like, of course she did, because like that's the only love that she could ever accept. And I think he did love her, but like we don't see enough of his background to know where all that's coming from. It's not excusing anything. He was a terrible partner and he should have been in prison for abusing her. But like that's the only love that she knew. That was the closest thing she had to it. Mm-hmm. Is someone at least being there day in and day out, you know, and also supporting her for her skating. Mm-hmm. Like he seemed like he really did want to support that, but then he was an abusive prick. But like, shocker that she wanted to be with him. I mean,
yeah,
where else would she have gone?
Yeah, I love the rationalization that she's going through, like in real time, or not in real time, as she's remembering all these altercations with him. I love and I thought it was my fault. And like, you know, my mom hit me and she loves me. He hits me, and he says he loves me. And like, it just, that rationalization and how that like, you know, will stay with you and carry with you. And it takes a lot to fucking break that type of narrative once it starts going in your head, that you deserve less than what a human deserves. That
for sure, because it's all she's heard her entire life. Like, and then just, you know, we go to Nancy Kerrigan being like carried out like a baby, like after she's hit by her dad who's protecting her and stuff. It was just like, it was heartbreaking for Nancy Kerrigan, and then it was heartbreaking to like see the different treatment of a child. Oh. But I do like the idea that like Tonya and Nancy, like maybe they partied together. I like thinking that Nancy was like not that she showed to the world. And I totally believe that. Like there's no way.
She was 19. I mean, sponsored athlete, living it up in some crazy city on the ice skating tour. Of course she partied. And was like every bit 19 or however old she was, like some like late 21, around 21. Like, girl, you got money and access and people want to take your picture. Why the fuck would you be at home?
I totally. And I love the image of them partying though. They have to throw it all into like 10 seconds. They're like shotgunning beers, like flopping on a bed. Like, I love it. Yes. I was like, yes. And the fact that they may have been friends, that's also kind of fascinating.
I was talking to my sister about I, Tonya, because I mean, we all grew up in the same figure skating household. And it was so funny that like we were talking and we're like, yeah, we were really sold Nancy Kerrigan, but like I think the figure skater who most people, at least like from where I grew up in the 90s, would have resonated more with Tonya had we known her full story. A girl with not a lot, whose mom's a waitress, like who's at practice, you know, before everyone and is the last one off the ice, like that type of work ethic. Not that Nancy Kerrigan didn't have the things, she obviously did. She's got a silver medal. But I don't, yeah, that's what fucking sucks about patriarchy sometimes. Like everyone gets ground up in the mix. Her life could be so different, and I just feel society kind of owes her.
I know, fucking
owes her a redemption arc in real life, like. And this kind of was it. I guess this was it. This was her redemption arc. She got her side of the story out, and I think it must feel good, or I would hope that it at least feels good that she be believed. That she put this out here, and so many people were like, "Makes sense. We believe you." We believe that your side of the story is just as legit as, because we've only ever really paid attention to Nancy's experience. I just remember seeing Nancy Kerrigan's 2020 with my whole family. Like, we were like, very concerned about her. I was like, figure skating was my life. Like, these names, like the Oksana Bayuls and like, I'm just like,
Oksana
forever.
Christy Yamaguchi.
Yeah, Katarina Witt. Like, I thought she was fantastic, and just like craziness vibes. That's why I love a sports movie. That's why.
And Katarina Witt, like, that's a whole other thing. She was from Russia, right?
I think that's Oksana, who was from Russia and then eventually switched to the U.S. team.
Okay, who is?
Katarina's like
German.
But she's like old.
I thought she was German. Old. But she, like, it's different though, because Germany like sponsors their skaters. Like, they like pay for them to train. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like a they're sent there. They're basically like machines of the country. It's like a whole different story. And I feel like there was some like crazy stuff about her, like maybe being a spy at some point. I would need to look a little more into that. But let's go to just the day of the incident, just really quick, because the way this is depicted is the incident. So, like, okay, so Jeff instructs his friend Sean Eckhart to send death threats to Nancy Kerrigan, and Sean is like, I've got some people, and blah blah blah, and okay. And then Tonya apparently makes a phone call trying to locate Kerrigan's training arena and her practice times. Like, I'm not really all sure how that all fits in, but Eckhart hires these two dudes to go and attack Kerrigan after a practice session in Detroit. That was, it was a terrible scene, but it was also like very hilarious in that, like, this dude, whoever the guy's name was, he was, oh my God, who's the guy that attacked Shane Stant, maybe? I don't know. One of the dudes, like, when he was saying stuff, they're in the car and he's about to get out of the car and go into the arena, and he's like, keep your mind blank. and then you won't give any vibes. And then also, if they don't see your eyes, they can't recognize you. And I'm like, we're in for a treat. We are in for a treat, because he's like repeating this stuff to himself. I wish I had the exact quote, but it was basically like, yeah, keep your brain blank and no one will get your bad vibes, and then don't look people in the eye. So this guy's going in, and he then like just asks someone, hey, where's Nancy? Makes direct eye contact. And then he follows her, and then he hits her over the knee with, I don't know what, like a billy club, or I don't know what that is.
Pipe.
It's a pipe.
Yeah.
And my favorite part is when he just jumps right through a glass door. I was like, that is so good. Like, it's like, these people are the worst criminals,
mm-hmm.
the worst at crime.
Yeah. And
he's just like, he's opening up, and then he just busts through the glass door. And I was like, yes, just a body shaped hole, just like bashes through full body. I'm obsessed. And I'm very sad about Nancy, but like, it was almost like a comedy.
It is.
I just cannot believe how funny the events that led up to the incident and directly following were. Like, hilarious.
It's insane that they were able to pull off any scheme given the level of intelligence displayed. The fact that they pulled any of this off in any way is actually remarkable.
I don't know how long they were able to get away with it, but it was way longer than I thought. Like, I was like, he has to, I just was shocked he wasn't like caught outside.
Yeah. Dude, where are you going? Why is your face all cut up? Like, no one's asking any of the real questions. When you see a man running down the street, I'm assuming his face is like shredded from running through a plate glass window.
I mean, they showed him like hit his head through it, and maybe that's how it happened. I mean, I had an image of him just like running through it. But either way, I was just like, yeah, like leave no trace.
Yeah.
Leave no trace. Like, you're good. You're good. No one will find you now.
Well, here's the pivotal question. Do you believe Tonya knew? And if not, when do you think she was like aware? Like, do you think she did the right things? I kind of think that she knew the whole time. And which is fine. I'm like, forget, I don't think she's orchestrated the hit, but I think she knew that it happened for longer before she went to the police. And she's like, I got to turn this in, which is really, I really want to go to the Olympics, and you guys are trying to fuck it up for me. I know. So I'm going to turn you in.
I find it very difficult to believe that Gillooly didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he was, charged with whatever, but like, I just don't think Eckhart can keep a secret. So thinking that, just building off of that belief, and that is one true belief that I hold, is that if he were making this happen, he would be talking about it to them.
Yeah.
And so if Jeff then knows, Tonya knows.
I agree.
That's it's not because like anyone's a better person or worse person and what her involvement was. Question for me is whether she knew. And this Eckhart guy can like just fail miserably at everything, and then like he just would not be able to pull that off.
I agree.
He just can't.
And we got like the example of the extent of his lying was so fantastic that if he was to tell the story and have it not be true, there would have been superpowers involved. Like, there would have been like blood raining from the ceiling, the room stopped, like, the KGB ran in, like, it would be so over the top, which is the only reason why I do think that he's telling the truth.
Right. I know, exactly. He can't, he couldn't, it just.
Yeah. But I could be swayed into thinking that like they had the conversation in jest, and that guy again doesn't read social cues to know that it was a freaking joke. We were all joking, and this guy thinks he's a secret agent out to like, do some hit on someone. I felt bad for that guy because I honestly think that there was like something happening there that's just like decreased intellect.
Yeah, he's not, he's not joining Mensa.
No,
he's not a member of Mensa.
I don't know if that's a good bar.
I'm not joining Mensa. Yeah.
Like, there's more of us on the not joining Mensa.
Yeah, he's not, he's not the brightest bulb. You're right. I definitely think there's a decreased IQ. I do think that it's, potential to be the star of Making a Murderer.
Oh.
Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I think he's sort of in there, in that family of people. Not that particular family, but like just a group that could be taken advantage of like that.
Yeah.
He's just so deeply hilarious, and his real interviews Like, I mean, the guy knocked it out of the park who played him. Like, you've got to watch. They're pulling directly these interviews, like truly word for word. He is absolutely saying that he's dealing in espionage, like 100%. And I'm like, well, it's not very successful. It can't be very successful.
Yeah. What kind of secrets do you, what? I guess, okay, fine, whatever. What do I know about spycraft?
And then when they show him talking and like blabbing to everyone about what he did, like that's like, he just wouldn't have been able to keep it a secret from Jeff. But he was ride or die Jeff. Like he was a ride or die friend. I mean, I will give that to him.
Yes, I will commend him on that. Although he did set him up. Like he was like really into Jeff for a minute there, and then he's a flip, and then he was like right back on the Jeff train.
He was ride or die until he got caught, and then he was like, Jeff, Gillooly.
This address. This is his phone number. We should go to our Chinese place in the same booth. Like
it's like, Mom, dial Gillooly. What's Gillooly's number, Mom? I love an image of a grown man yelling for their mother to do something for them and not getting up. Yeah. That is also something that I just hold near and dear to my heart of like, yes, it happens now, but like a little less so probably because of technology, unfortunately, not because there aren't any man babies left in the world, but like a grown man, just like the demands and the yelling and the like needing something and like not getting his ass up to go and get it. Like, just like, it's funny to me every time.
Yes. I feel like that's just imagery that's very 90s. Like, Mom, I need a Hot Pocket, or like,
where's my Pop-Tart?
Yeah.
My lean cuisine, or like, I know. And the thing is, it's a 90s image, and it's an image we saw in movies play out, but then like, this is real-ish. So I'm like, was this just happening a lot?
I wonder that all the time when I see movies like this. I'm like, I'm lost. I hope that none of it's real. Like, if I can find one flaw, then I want to throw everything away. And then Tonya Harding had a great mom who loved her and like just wanted her to do her best and was supportive of her in her career. And like Gillooly, not that bad of a guy.
Gillooly. Yeah. So Jeff, he acknowledges that he ruined Tanya's career. He has since changed.
Is that part of the original recording or the 30 for 32? Because why on earth would Gillooly say something like that?
You know what? I don't know if that's part of it. I only got like 20 minutes through, but I'm gonna finish it. I will let you know offline. But I bet he acknowledged somewhere, like by coming up with the death threats, he then had a hand in ruining her career. But who knows? Maybe he admits to it all. But then he's since changed his name, remarried, opened a hair salon, divorced, and remarried. Done. He Gillooly'd out into space, doing his thing. And then, Tonya took up professional boxing.
Yes, I remember this. It was a sad time for everyone. I don't remember her being very good at all.
No, but I get her wanting to just like do a professional sport. And that was probably like a relatively good fit for her. And she could just pretend like she was punching off Jeff's face or punching off Lavana's face. But then she eventually became a landscaper, house painter, and deck builder. And now she's happily married with her third marriage, and she has a 7-year-old son. I hope all is well for Tonya, even if she knew, which obviously is terrible, terrible, terrible.
Yeah.
I just don't think she deserved to be treated the way that she was. Like, and then also, we were just never given any context, any appropriate context. She's still an adult. there's no excuses, but then give her a punishment that fits the crime. She was ultimately canceled, but like canceled, like not able to do the one thing that would make her a contributing member to society at the time. Mm-hmm. The one thing that she believed that, you know, would do that.
Yeah, I agree. I do feel bad for Tonya. Still feel bad for Tonya. I feel like, you know, history is rewriting itself, or at least giving a full picture of this whole incident. Yeah, I feel really bad. And has she not paid a debt that is greater than the offense? I think
she has.
I think she has. I think that the sad thing is that I only believe in cancel culture when it's the community that has like given you power is the only community, in my opinion, that can take away your power. And it's just so sad that the entire figure skating community like allowed this to happen also.
Oh, I know.
They're allowing this to happen. Like I guess, I don't know, maybe it would take an act of Nancy to get her reinstated, but I'm like, I hope that like her accomplishments continue to be acknowledged.
Totally.
That she can figure skate again if she wants to. Maybe she doesn't want to anymore. Maybe it's like, you know, something she doesn't have a strong interest in anymore. But
oh my God, and the music, just an honorable mention. I mean, like Bad Company, Dire Straits, Fleetwood Mac, Supertramp. I mean, it was just this. I am going to look up on Spotify the original motion picture soundtrack by Tonya, and I'm going to jam the fuck out of it. I don't know. Now I'm really tired. Guys, it's 9 p.m. This is actually really late for me. I just said I'm going to jam the fuck out of it, but I'm going to just jam. I'm going to jam because this music was so good. Spirit in the Sky. Oh, whenever I hear that, I'm ready. I'm ready. The beat to that song is so good. The lyrics are so dumb. And we're just here. All right. So, strong female lead. In order to qualify as a strong female lead for the purposes of our pod, we take a look at whether or not the lead character is top billed, impacted the plot, and or moved the story forward, and do they have agency? I almost forgot the last one. So
it's fine.
Now here's the thing.
Every single time.
This is almost a documentary, which I knew I was really towing the line with this, but I think that it was an easy enough one to do. And so what do you think? SFL?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Tonya Harding is the SFL of the film, 100%. She's got agency. She's moving the plot forward.
No, I know. Yeah. But there are times where it feels like it's happening without her. It feels, or it's painted as if it's all happening to her, you know, but at the end of the day, like just her skill and talent alone moves the story forward.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But like the others, like it just kind of, there's a lot of happening to her, or so we're supposed to think. Yeah. And there is definitely oppression.
Yeah, I think it's hard because there's unreliable narrators. So the plot, at least for me, can become opaque. I'm like, yeah.
I know.
Whose story is this? This is a story about Tonya, but is it Tonya's story? I mean, yes.
Is it? I mean, I guess it's supposed to be. Yeah, SFL, man. I mean, Tonya, we'd like to uncancel you.
Yes.
You are a strong female lead.
I feel like most people who are canceled in the 90s should be uncanceled. Just like we should have an award ceremony where we just give people back something, some small token of our appreciation for you tolerating us in the 90s. Just a
Absolutely.
Or a undo button.
Absolutely. And I think this probably passed the Bechdel test. I mean, the focus was mostly on skating and trying to think of conversations between Tonya and her mom. There's definitely a scene where they speak to each other about, it's not about a man, it might be just hurling insults at Tonya. But it's not about a man, though. That's the only thing I can think.
True. I definitely think this passes Bechdel.
100%. 100%. Okay, what?
Hundo beef.
That was Zach. What about, what do you think the filmmakers are saying about femininity and masculinity? Or not saying, because this is pretty much a documentary. So I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know that the directors are saying this, or this, the writers are saying these things, but things that I noticed was just how hard the machine was working to stop Tonya at every turn. She's economically disadvantaged. She's just everything is just lining up for this not to be good. And she still is. And perseverance of spirit is always great. I like I don't know. I feel like this is a hard thing to review because it is almost a documentary.
I know.
Because I don't want to say oh yeah, Tonya, I like her. She's a good person. I don't know. All of the narrators of this movie are untrustworthy. So I don't know.
No, and I don't think the filmmakers, I don't think they're saying anything about femininity. I think they're shining a light on, in this case, the intersectionality of gender and class. I think they're showing us a part of the story, but I don't think their message is something specific about it. It's just, here are some elements that are at play to be considered in all of this. That's kind of how I took it, because there is an angle to it, and so I do think they are trying to tell us something, but they're not really saying something's right or wrong. They're just hey, have you taken a look at this?
Yeah, I definitely think at the end, the writers would want you to have, but hopefully by the end of it, have created some sort of empathy towards Tonya Harding. Obviously, we can't fully 100% know because of the narrators what is true and what is not true, but yes, shining a light on how she was treated, how we allow people to be treated in society. If we want things to be different, we just need enough of us to agree that things need to be different. And I mean, there have been other scandals. There'll forever be more sports-related scandals, but she had it fucking rough.
She did. That's the kind of situation that makes you just kind of want to give up. And she just really didn't. She was forced. Her hand was forced. She would have kept going.
Yeah.
Oh my God, how great was that scene where she was like, my lace! She just boom! Just slams her foot up on it to show them. And I get it. I remember thinking at the time, though, what a baby, blah, blah, blah.
What? That's dangerous.
I know. What a brat.
It's super dangerous.
Yeah,
but
such a meanie.
it doesn't happen that often on the ice. That like that you pop your what do you call it, shoelace, like she did.
But I think it was around the time the incident had already happened, so I already saw her in a different light, right? And then it was like, oh, Tonya. Like I never hated Tonya Harding, but I was definitely like rooting for Nancy at that time. I mean, there was no other way to go. It wasn't safe.
Oh.
It's terrible, but we didn't see anything else. Oh God. Oh my God, what would you rate it?
Tonya. I'd maybe give it like 4 out of 5. Yeah.
Love that. It's so good.
It is.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's really well made, extremely well acted. It's a riveting story that I think most people who are in any way a sports enthusiast would be familiar with enough to like get you through. Enough of it will come back. You'll be like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. I remember bits and pieces. Definitely worth the watch. I mean, in terms of like just sports movie related, like just on like if I had a list of only sports movies that I just absolutely love, this one would rank towards the bottom because it didn't hit all of the beats for me of a sports movie. So I didn't cry in this one, if anyone was wondering. So
I like that. That's important.
Like, heartwarming, like team realization about how friendships matter. Over any disagreement, it's the team. Any of those.
We can beat the odds together.
Yeah,
underdog.
Yeah, odds together. All that good, heartwarming Disney.
The underdog lost here.
This is true. It tried to make me think, and I didn't appreciate it. But it is still such an amazing movie. But like in terms of like my own personal scale for sports movies that are just like heartwarming, like on a Remember the Titans level sports movie, like 1 to 10, this would be like a 4 out of 10. Like it's got most of the beats, but just like it's missing that heartwarming piece where there's a team, someone's overcoming something. Tonya, I mean, has had it rough. She had a rough go.
I would give this a 4.25 out of 5.
Nice.
It's not a 5 because a 5 is just so rare. But I don't usually like watching movies more than once. I used to watch them all the time, when you're a kid and you're like memorizing every scene. Like, yeah, I've seen this movie 50 times. And it was like, yeah. And now there's too much out there. I just don't. But this was my second time around and I'd watch it a third. Like it was so fun to watch. It was just so good.
Yeah. I really liked it. Yeah. I would 100% watch this again. I just like, Tonya Harding's hair. I do remember her hair being iconic to me, and just like that type of hair during the like early 90s, like that like crunchy spray gel.
Oh yeah.
Things.
The super tight, like pulled back super tight, and then the ponytails like uber fluffy. And then when she had the short hair, and it was just like.
I actually liked that. I was like, oh, that was cute. I want to let go of that look too quickly. Tonya.
Bring it back. This was fun. We made it. Thank God this was such an easy movie to talk about. After 2 hours of tech.
Right? It's insane.
Oh my God. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And you can find us on Instagram at Strong Female Pod.
And we are on Twitter at SFL_Chicago. Tweet at us. What did you think of I, Tonya?
Are you team Nancy or are you team Tonya? Or are you team Tansy? Maybe you like them both.
I'm on team Gillooly. Free Gillooly.
Sean. Team Sean. Get me involved in Sean's level of like spy game. I want like a perfect night for me would be just being on the periphery of like seeing one of his plots just go awry. I just want to see it. I want to be around the weird, but I don't want to be involved because I don't want to do harm upon others.
The next booth over during the planning meeting, and that's enough for me. Like, we're not really associated. It's happenstance that we're here at the same time, but I'm listening to your plan and like dying of laughter.
Dying. Oh, maybe interjecting. Maybe
lawyer. just
what's that?
You should interject as their lawyer.
Yeah, like try to give them sound advice, but really just give them like other new ideas.
Yeah. Like, you can have your eyes open, dude. It's cool.
Yeah, like you can't actually cause your mind to go blank. So don't try, especially when you're about to commit a crime. You might want your thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, you know what? That's what happened. Maybe he did actually make his mind blank. And that's why it was his only choice was to just jump through the glass door. Like,
I mean, it's just
as
possible as any other as what actually happened. It's just as plausible.
I know. I for some reason I think that is how he got out. But like, I am starting to think that maybe he did. Yeah, he did blank out, and he succeeded. And then he wasn't able to really, I mean, how else was he going to get out though? If you think about it, maybe that was his only choice. You know what? Good for you. I don't even remember your name. And that was very memorable. Any last thoughts for Tonya?
No, it just made my heart really happy to see so much figure skating, because I really do miss all that shit. It was fun as a kid, and this was all nostalgia and so fun to watch.
So you were a figure skater?
Mm-hmm. Well, up until like beginning of middle school, right before you get to jumps. And then my mom was like, too dangerous. I don't know what I was thinking. She'd like snap back into her overprotective self. And she's like, what was I thinking? We were all enamored by figure skating, just like, and then the Mighty Ducks happened at the same time, or immediately after. It was figure skating and then the Ducks, and then winter sports.
So while you were actually figure skating, I was pretend figure skating on my kitchen floor in my socks. I used to do these like, I couldn't actually do a jump, so I just like switch my feet and then stick my leg out. And I remember doing that like because of the games, because they were on and I was just like in it. But that was all I did.
I love that. I would totally practice jumps in the backyard or in the basement when my parents were not home or something. But yeah, just pretending that we were on the ice, even if we weren't on the ice. Like,
pretending you're on the ice, like it was so good. Oh,
love it.
I want some wholesome kneecap, and breaking the kneecap. Like, they didn't break it, but it's very like mafioso. Like, it's just a very weird, like,
which is exactly how you know that guy did it, because like he would only go to the most theatrical version of a what does a hitman do? Exactly what like every mobster.
Like, I'm gonna break your kneecaps.
Yeah.
Like, at first I was like, oh, it's because she's a skater and it would injure her knee. But now I'm thinking, no, he was probably like, I've seen this in a movie.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That's so good. That makes it even better.
It's so,
Sorry,
I
Nancy.
100% think it's true.
Oh my God. All right, everyone. Well, thank you again. And what do we have on deck for our next? Whatever. We'll figure it out.
More sports. More sports.
More sports. And hopefully we're going to have a guest come on for one of them. A fan who has reached out to us and we've reached out to them. And so we're going to bring him on and more sports and, check us out on Instagram, Apple Podcasts, rate, review, subscribe. Let us know what you want to hear. That's all I've got. I'm like half falling asleep.
Guys, we'll see you next week.
Until next time. Bye.
Bye.